Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is said to introduce over 8 new characters in this story that will be introduced by J.J. Abrams in order to benefit many of the sequel trilogy-based characters like Kylo Ren and Rey in Episode 9. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that a lot of these new characters are either going to be in the form of actual physical characters on the big screen, or characters in reference, or characters in other forms as well that's going to be used later on in the film. And what I like about that is that it's going to expand all of the different pieces of Jedi and Sith lore as well. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9 and Supreme Leader Snoke's apprentice before Kylo Ren. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that a description of Kylo Ren and his Knights of Ren entering of what's described to be an abandoned First Order base, where they eventually make their way into Snoke's original throne room that contains a vault of many of Snoke's belongings and personal items. It's described that one of the relics that Snoke owns is described to be the lightsaber hilt of his very own apprentice before Kylo Ren, that was said to have traveled to the beyond and never returned, and is said to be alive somewhere in the galaxy. The lightsaber design is said to be dubbed as Dante Salazar's lightsaber hilt. It's described that this hilt is inactive and appears to have damage to the base of the hilt, where part of the metal is blown through, revealing a red kyber crystal. The hilt is also said to have a silver trim on the end as well. The character Dante Salazar was said to have been sent on a mission from Supreme Leader Snoke and never returned, and is said to have gone rogue against him at one point in time before the sequels, and that this is where Kylo came into the picture, where he was recruited by the Knights of Ren. So let's go over the character's name. Now, Dante Salazar, it's actually spelled D-A-N-T-E S-A-L-Z-A-R. Very interesting name. It sounds somewhat Star Wars-y. It's almost like a mixture of an Italian name and something else. What I like about Episode 9, though, is that they're really trying to dive into Snoke's backstory in little tiny increments here, where we get to learn a little bit more about Snoke's apprentice before Kylo Ren. I don't know if you guys knew this, but this is canon, and it is official that Snoke does indeed have an apprentice, or once had an apprentice before Kylo Ren. And Vanity Fair confirmed a couple of weeks ago that it was the Knights of Ren who recruited Kylo Ren, which also lines directly up with this. So, the lightsaber hilt of Dante Salazar was left behind within Snoke's original throne room, specifically within his vault. Now, this lightsaber is said to be inactive and damaged, and even part of the hilt itself, the metal is blown through, revealing a red kyber crystal that is not cracked. This opens up the possibility of Kylo Ren using that perfectly, intact kyber crystal to use in his crossguard lightsaber to make it stable. That's another big possibility as well. So the fact that Kylo comes across this and collects it really does speak volumes. We do know that we're going to learn more about Snoke also in the upcoming comic that is all set and ready to drop in September of this year, where it's going to tell us a little bit more about Snoke and Kylo Ren before the events of The Force Awakens. So what I like about Snoke, though, is that we do know that J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, Andy Serkis, and other characters, or should I say other creatives out there that worked on these characters, are keeping Snoke's backstory a big secret to hold until another film. And that film seems like it's going to be Episode 9 after all. So, Snoke's apprentice, Dante Salazar, was said to actually travel all the way over to the Beyond and never returned, and is said to have gone rogue against Snoke, and is still alive somewhere in the galaxy. Now, could this very well mean that the Dark Acolyte that is said to be portrayed by Matt Smith and holds a connection to the spirit of Sidious, could it very well be that the character dubbed as Vance is actually Dante Salazar all along? It's a really good possibility here that Episode 9 is really going to reveal that the new Dark Acolyte was indeed Snoke's apprentice, or maybe even one of Snoke's other apprentices. For all we know, Snoke had more than one before Kylo Ren. The only thing that we do know in canon is that Snoke at the very least, had one before Kylo Ren, so just keep that in mind. Very interesting piece indeed. So, aside from all of this, I will have to say that I really like that side of the Star Wars lore. Snoke's backstory, his apprentice going out into the beyond. It really makes you wonder what happened to Snoke's apprentice and what really made him go rogue against Supreme Leader Snoke. You know, we do know that this movie really is going to answer a lot of questions, as well as a film that's going to create questions in the beginning and will answer those questions in the end of this movie. So once we watch this film, we're going to be asking ourselves new questions that are going to be answered in the third act as well. And that's the great thing about this film, is that it is going to be a big movie, as the editor Marianne has said before in the past, so that's another thing to really look forward to as well. Anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.